Sip Mutkula Anand, Sip Girish, Sip Bridget, Sip Gautam, Sip Eru, Sip Avinash. Welcome to this call. I was just walking at temperature of minus 18 degrees. So it's minus 18 and still very pretty. I don't know if you all can see from this distance. Sometimes we don't realize, right? How does the tree withstand temperatures of minus 18, minus 20? And so I was just walking around here and I thought I will just start the call, greet you, and then get into the subject. So today the question is about the liberation of the soul. So do you have the question in front of you? I'm reading it out for you. What are the obstacles in the liberation of the soul? What are the obstacles? So who would like to touch this? We are talking about the liberation of the soul. What are the obstacles? No volume. You can hear me, right?
Yes, so Supreme Kaumudi, can I share?
Yes, please share.
Yes, so I think the biggest obstacle, at least for me and maybe for most of all us, will be temporary pleasures, materialistic things, taste, food, and relationships, humans. I think that gets, like, we get carried away, we get pulled. Although we know that this is all the illusion and this is only a part of temporary life and it may just vanish any moment, but we get pulled towards. I think that is the obstacle which is coming in the way of awareness or enlightenment.
Okay, you have many things that seem to be obstacles. So I will deal with you one by one, but we are still focusing on the question, what are the obstacles in the liberation of the soul? Who else would like to try? Girish.
Can I try?
After Girish. Yes, Girish.
Not realizing the self.
I can't hear you, Girish. Girish, little louder, please.
Identification with the body.
Identify with the body. Okay, what happens when you identify with the body?
Not realizing the truth, not realizing the self, and misidentified with the body.
Okay.
When we are misidentified with the body, we are in samsara. Ups and downs of samsara begins or continues.
Okay.
Liberation can be possible only when we realize the self.
Okay, good. Good thoughts. Thank you, Girish. We'll come back to review this again with you. Who else? I see Sudeep Bhargava.
Shivam sir.
Sure, Sudeep.
So I'll just go one step further to what Girish ji just said. When we identify ourselves with the body, three things can happen. That is duty, lust, and shame.
Yeah.
All three of them are connected with what Girish ji said. So that can be further three obstacles if I just divide it further, what he said.
What are the obstacles in liberation of the soul? You say are duty, lust, greed, shame. All these are very, very, very valid points. Many of you have got very good points. But in enlightenment, in liberation, there needs to be clarity. Clarity is very important. So when we lack clarity, then the problem starts. Atmatray?
Shivam, sir.
Sure.
Actually, I don't feel any obstacle in realizing myself, but I'm on the path, and some time needed for the 100%.
Sometime what?
And for the realizing, experiencing the I am the soul, and I have known, but I want to get it experience, anubhuti.
So what are the what according to you? Do you say there is no according to you there is no liberation, right? There is no obstacle.
I think so. Obstacles, I have overcome the obstacles. Body, mind, I have in my control. I think It is in my control, but I'm want to experience the self, the supreme
Okay.
power. Uh-huh.
Okay. Thank you, Ashok Nichani. Thank you, Atmatre. Ashok Nichani.
Shivam Sirji,
Shivoham.
we should forget I, me, mine, attachments, desires.
So
These
these
are
are
all-
the ones. These are the hindrances in liberation in the soul, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, Sirji. I,
Okay.
me, mine.
Let me ask Bliko. I can see Bliko next to you.
Guruji?
Thank you, Ashok. Bliko ke baad Maru Madaji. Bliko, tell me, Bliko.
Namaste, Guruji.
Shivoham.
Shivo, liberation is the nature of the soul, and SIP is liberated already. What is bonding us is the BME, body, mind, and ego. If we clearly define body, mind, and ego in every action, will be merged into SIP, and SIP is always liberated. Nothing to do.
So
Our nature is liberation.
So you are the first person who has read the question properly. So please repeat the first aspect of your answer, please.
SIP is already liberated.
Stop.
There is
Thank
a
you.
bondage.
Just pause. So my dear friends, what are the hindrances in liberation of the soul in the soul? The soul doesn't have any, the soul doesn't need liberation. This question itself is a wrong question. Many people are thinking that the soul needs liberation. So Bliko is the first person who has caught the tail of the question. You all gave answers. What are the hindrances of liberation? Your answer is correct. Your answers are correct if the question is what are the hindrances on liberation? Everybody's answers are correct. But Bliko caught the right aspect. What are the obstacles in the hindrances? What are the hindrances in the liberation of the soul? No, the soul has no. The soul doesn't need. The soul doesn't need liberation. What did Bliko say? The soul is already liberated. SIP is already liberated. The soul is already. I think Atmatrai said something similar. I'm not sure what Atmatrai said, but it didn't come out so clearly. The nature of the soul, my dear friends, this is what long back in one set of many discussions, somebody said that in the Bhagavad Gita, they are talking about liberation of the soul. No, this is a wrong analogy. The first step to understand is that the soul is already liberated. The soul does not need liberation. So please, all of you, including Ashok Nichani, gave right answers. But you gave the right answer in terms of what are the hindrances to liberation. Full stop. So if does anybody have a question on this, please ask me before we move forward, because there are many more people who are wanting to ask questions. But we must remember this: the soul is not imprisoned. The soul is Param, Anant, Amar, Anadi, Sarva Shakti. The soul is Sip. The soul is divine. The soul, the Ruh, the Atma. This is already liberated. There is no hindrance in liberation of the soul. What is not liberated is the Jivatma, the Jiva. The Jiva is caught in ignorance. And the Jiva is caught in ignorance. And so I caught the first part of Bharat's answer. I will permit him to continue with his explanation if he wants to say anything more. Yes, Bharat, anything more that you want to add?
So what I want to add is the every soul is liberated. Only the bondage is with BME, body, mind, and ego, which is a veil between liberation and the Jivatma. Means the Maya is already covering this body, mind, ego away from the liberation.
Very good. Since you are an advanced seeker, can I make a small correction? Since you are an advanced seeker,
Yes,
do I
yes,
have your
yes, please.
permission?
Yes.
You said every soul. There is only one soul.
One soul. Yeah, sorry.
There is no-
I got
there is no
it.
every soul, huh?
I got
So
it.
these are the points that we need to pay see, many of you are very advanced on this path. Many of you are very advanced, not advanced, but very advanced. And you're coming on this call every day. You don't miss, because you are very seeking enlightenment. See, if you don't seek enlightenment, then you're wasting your life. Very few people in this world are fortunate like you to come on this call every day, because you are seeking the ultimate nectar, the ultimate treasure, the ultimate wealth of life. Most people are not seeking, they are seeking petty pleasures. Don't seek, quote, don't seek petty pleasures. Seek the real treasures. Don't seek the petty pleasure of life. Seek the real treasure of life. Enlightenment beyond achievement. Got it? Don't seek the petty pleasure of life. Seek the real treasure of life. Enlightenment beyond any achievement. So this is very important. Thank you. Devidas Budrani. Dasi asked question, deep longing and anguish of the heart for the Lord. Yes, Dasi, you are right. If you want liberation, there must be deep longing. But Dasi, I hope you made note of the point that the soul is already liberated. The soul does not have to be liberated. Yes, but if what Bharat said, the BME, the body, mind, ego, the BME, the body, mind, ego is imprisoned. And when the body, mind, ego is liberated, when the body, mind, ego is free, then yes, we need to have the deep longing, and the deep longing is what will take us there. Okay, next we have Pawan. Pawan, focus, direct question, please. Pawan. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, now I thought when I heard this question, I thought fear was the obstacle. But then when Bharat Patel sir told about that, I came to a realization that fear resides in mind. It's not in soul. Is this right, sir? So it is not an obstacle.
Absolutely right. So
Okay.
fear is of the mind. The soul has no fear. Thank you, Pawan. Thank you for your input. So who is going to go for the next question?
गुरुजी
Rumata ji,
गुरुजी,
बताइए.
पहली
Rumata
बात
ji.
तो ये है कि कल मेरा कनेक्ट नहीं हुआ फोन, एंड तक
अरे.
नहीं हुआ. आई वॉज ट्राइंग एंड ट्राइंग. आई वॉज जस्ट लाइक अ फिश विदाउट वाटर.
So it is good to feel
बिल्कुल
like.
कनेक्ट नहीं हुआ. फिर एक्सेप्ट एंड सरेंडर कर दिया. आपका बाद में फेसबुक पे सुना, पर उस वक्त तो नहीं सुन पाई. आज
Okay,
भी
so
मुश्किल से लगा है.
So
आज भी बहुत
sometimes,
मुश्किल से कनेक्ट हुआ है.
so sometimes when it happens like that, you know it's on Facebook, but there is no maza and no nasha in watching it on Facebook, because that is different. That's only watching a recording. When you are here, you are live, you're asking questions, you're participating. So anyway, remember something in life. I think yesterday we spoke of two things, right? We spoke of two things. One, we said that in life we have to learn to accept. And two, we have to learn to surrender. But that does not mean that we should accept to bhoga. We should remain in yoga. We should trust God. We should be connected to God. We should seek God. Because if we seek the world, then how can we attain God? We must seek God. We must all the time. We must be a mumukshu. We must be a yogi. That is very, very important in this journey. And I wish somehow, sometimes I feel sad that there are 8 billion people. 8 billion people in this world. How many are seeking enlightenment? Not even 1%. Not even 1% are seeking enlightenment. So that is the problem. The very few people in this world who are blessed, who are going on this path, who are understanding what is the soul, who is liberated, how will we be liberated. So, like Dasi said, it is deep longing. Do you have the deep longing for God? Do you have the deep longing for liberation? This deep longing for God and for liberation, this mumukshutva, is a very magical way. So let's continue questions.
And
I hope
Guruji, I am sorry to hear about your COVID problem.
Why are you so? Why are you sorry?
Thank God it is nothing.
Okay, okay. Why are you sorry? Because I only got 2 days extra in Finland because of Prasadam. Tomorrow morning I'm flying.
आप ट्रबल में रहे ना, आप ट्रबल में रहे, आप ट्रबल में रहे ना इसलिए.
नहीं, कोई trouble नहीं. You must not feel any trouble. हाँ.
और गुरुजी जब हम मतलब बॉडी माइंड और ईगो से हट जाते हैं और रूह की तरह रहते हैं तो कोई हिंड्रेंस नहीं है.
नहीं, हम अगर हम रूह है तो रूह is what Bharat told. You are not there, I think. Bharat said रूह का जो नेचर है, the soul का जो नेचर है, it is already liberated. रूह को लिबरेशन की जरूरत नहीं है.
हाँ.
जब ये जो रूह है, ये रूह कोई चीज में अटक जाता है, तो ये रूह जो चीज में अटक जाता है तो फिर वो चीज में फंस जाता है. तो we have to रूह को ये चीज से बचाना है. अगर कोई रूह चीज में अटक जाती है ना, then that रूह becomes the रूह रूह नहीं फंसता है, लेकिन वो जीवात्मा फंस जाता है. जीवा फंस जाता है,
माइंड एंड ईगो,
बीएमई फंस जाता है. Okay, thank you. Next question, please. Yogini, right? Yogini. We cannot hear you. You have to unmute. You're not able to unmute? Why is she not able to unmute? I don't know. Is everybody? You can hear me, Bharat? Can you hear me? You can hear? Okay, you can hear. Everybody can hear me, Komal, but we cannot hear you. So check your connection. Connection is called yoga. If you don't have a now Yogini must be in yoga. Speak, please speak.
Now you can hear?
Yeah.
Thank you. I also agree with Mr. Blicko, as he said the BME, that is the body, mind and ego, envelops the soul, due to which we are stuck with, like we cannot go forward for enlightenment.
But the soul is not
so
stuck.
We have to.
But the soul is, you use the word envelope. So the body, mind, ego cannot envelope the soul. The soul is everywhere in every atom.
Then how do we go further if the soul is not enveloped?
Yeah, because the soul is in every atom of your body. आपके नाक में, नोज में सोल है, कान में सोल है, आई में सोल है, हर जगह सोल है. There is no place where there is no soul. So the moment you realize I am that sip, I am that energy, I am that power, that Shakti, then the body is there, but the body is no more. The body becomes liberated from the Maya, from the Leela, from the Samsara. The mind is a bundle of thoughts. It doesn't exist.
Yes.
The ego is a false identity. You already dropped the ego. You've dropped Komal. You have become Yogini. So now what have you done by calling yourself? I don't know, only Yogini on this call, or you're telling all your friends also you're Yogini, or only on this call?
Only on this call, because to tell people they will not understand.
But you must start telling. Then only you will drop your ego. Otherwise, you will not be able to drop your ego. Then your call, after you go back from this call, you will again carry your ego with you.
मेरे खुद घर में सब हंसते हैं कि ये क्या है, तुमको क्या हो गया है.
Yogini, suno Yogini, unko hasne do. In the end, you will have the last laugh. If you want to be if you want to be a Yogini, you do not have to. You don't need anybody's approval. You don't need anybody's endorsement. You don't need anybody's verification or justification. If you want to be Yogini, you be Yogini because that is the right thing to do. To be a Yogini, to live in this world with yoga. Who is a Yogini? A Yogini is a woman who is always in yoga.
Yes.
So when you're in yoga, I told you there are 5 states of yoga. Correct? You start with Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and then Prema Yoga.
Prema Yoga.
So if you are in these 5 states of yoga throughout the day, then you are no chance of you being affected by people who say something. See, people will say, you think people don't talk nonsense about me? Oh, hundreds of people talk hundreds of things about me. How does it matter? My Guruji taught me, when the dog is barking, the moon is shining. When the dog is barking, the moon must be shining. So we should not worry about what people say. We should be worried about what we feel deep within, inside us. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Girish?
Soul
I also see
is
Gautam has. Yes, Girish?
soul is unattached.
Yes.
Asangoham. Please explain this concept.
Asangoham is a long word. You want to break it up for everybody? You know the answer, right? Asangoham means what?
Unattached. No father, no mother, no birth, no death, no modification, no nothing.
In simple words, it's like saying the electricity of the house is not attached to the bulb, to the TV, to the motor, to the hairdryer. Does the electricity come and tell you, Girish, 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 I want to be in the TV, Girish? Have you ever heard the electricity coming and telling you, Girish, 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 I want to switch on the air conditioning? Does the electricity ever come and tell you?
Never.
No. Electricity is there in the switch, in the main switchboard. If you switch on the electricity, it will flow to the bulb. It will flow to the AC. It will flow to the motor. The soul is there. The soul is unattached. The soul is not belonging to Girish or Sudeep. The soul is Sip. The soul is the supreme immortal power. The soul is Atma, divine spirit, soul, Ruh. All these words, the Sufis use the word Ruh. So, if you really want to understand the soul is unattached, you understand the soul is Sip. Sip is not attached to anything or to anybody. Sip is manifested. The Sip appears as Sudeep, appears as Girish, appears as Ashok. So the Sip appears as. How can the Sip become attached? So how can the soul become attached? When we don't understand the meaning of soul, no, Girish, what we think I have a nose, I have ears, I have eyes, I have hair, I have a head, I have a body, I have a mind, I have a soul. People think the soul is like one motor inside. If the soul is like a motor inside, then we should be able to remove this motor. No? What is the problem in removing the motor? Who can remove the motor and show me? Can you remove the motor? Can you remove the motor called the soul motor? Soul motor. Can you remove and show me? There is no soul motor. Soul is energy which is in every atom of our existence. Proved not only by spirituality, but also by science. Science has an experience called the wave particle duality. They took a cell of the human being and they examined it under the microscope. The cell disappeared. The cell is not electron, neutron, proton, smaller than that, called the quark. The quark under a microscope disappeared into thin air. Just as they were trying to understand, it reappeared as a particle of matter. And then they coined it as a wave particle duality. Wave can become particle, particle can become a wave. Thank you. I hope, Girish, that was sufficient. Next question, please. Did you put your hand up? I don't see Gautam's hand up now. Next, we have a few minutes more. People have hundreds of questions, but people are stuck. People don't want to ask. So now, for example, if Girish had this thing, soul asangam, what is the meaning? No, the soul is nothing to it. Soul just gives power. It's so what some people say, oh, after I die, when I come back, will I get the same soul? Girish, people ask us this question, right? People ask the question, after I die, will I come back? Will I get the same soul? Then we laugh. It's just like saying, after I blow a balloon and I burst it, then I blow another balloon. Will the same air come in the balloon? How can same air come? Same air cannot come. The same air has merged. Okay, Tanu. Tanu. Tanu's name is now Ru Tanu. Ru Tanu, where are you?
Shivoham Guruji.
Shivoham, bolo Ru.
Guruji, I wanted to ask that energy, consciousness, and soul, three are the same things?
It depends on how you use them. Let me explain to you. Pay attention. The soul is the life power in you. When the soul is the life power in you, that soul becomes the energy with which you live. Now, if you go and talk to people who are in nutrition, they will say energy comes from food. They will say energy comes from calories. If you eat apple, so many calories. If you eat banana, so many calories. So energy can be used in different terminology. You cannot use the same terminology. Energy and soul cannot be interchanged. No doubt, soul is the energy. But energy, there's energy in the bulb. There's solar energy. There is wind, hydro energy. There is so many energies. But that is not soul energy. So you got the difference of that. Soul, energy, and consciousness. Correct? You don't use the word consciousness, am I right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So when there is a soul, then there is consciousness. The moment there is no soul, there is no consciousness. The soul creates consciousness. In the presence of the soul, there is consciousness. So now some people will say, therefore the soul is consciousness. Okay, you can say like that. No harm in saying like that. But you may lose consciousness, but you cannot lose the soul till you are dead. For example, you cannot remain in consciousness all the time, but the soul is there all the time. We become the waker, the dreamer, and the sleeper. We do not reach that state of Chaturyam. Chaturyam or Samadhi or consciousness is the state where we become enlightened. We become the witness. We become the observer. We become the soul. So when you realize you are the soul, then you reach that state of consciousness. When you don't realize you are the soul, then you don't reach that state of consciousness.
So in that state, we don't have any desires, we don't have any wants.
Why would you have? Rutanu, if you know that you are God, it's like this. It's just like let me explain to you. Suppose you go to a mithai shop. Suppose you go to a mithai shop and you are very fond of mithai. What will you do? You will pick some rasgulla, you will pick some badam halwa, correct? And you will keep on putting them in your basket. But suppose after 3 or 4 times you come to know that shop itself belongs to you. Then will you still take a basket and put those sweets in the basket when the shop itself belongs to you?
No.
Why will you not put?
Because it's mine only.
Everything is yours. What is the use of putting one rasgulla packet in the basket? Your shop only is yours. So the moment we realize that we are the divine, correct? How did you frame your question? You remember your question, how you framed it? What was your question?
When we get enlightenment, do we still have our desires and wants?
So the reason I'm framing the answer to your question now. Therefore, when the shop is yours, you're enlightened. You come to know. Then there are no desires. The person who's enlightened realizes that nothing is mine. I come with nothing. I go with nothing. No relationship is mine. See, sometimes we are so attached to people. Will any relationship last forever? No. Therefore, our relationship must only be ruh se ruh ka nata. The relationship should only be soul to soul. If the relationship is not soul to soul, if it's only skin to skin, that will definitely lead us away from enlightenment. That will make us desire. That will make us seek the petty pleasure of life. Just now I told you, don't seek a petty pleasure. Seek the real treasure. I wrote a quote. As I keep talking to you, then I asked them to capture a quote. Don't seek the petty pleasure. Seek the real treasure. So that is what you must. So enlightened people, Rutanu, enlightened people have no desires. Why should I have desire? What is there? I have desire. I have only one desire. What is that desire?
To meet the God.
That's all. To be united. To be united with God. And therefore, I try to be in yoga all the time. Therefore, I try to be yoga. I don't want to be united with God after I die. I want to be united with God now. today, now, every moment. I want that nasha. What nasha? That nasha of yoga. That nasha of
गुरुजी
Sat
अभी
Chit Anand.
अभी आप समझाते हैं, अभी सब कुछ समझ में आता है. But after some time we forget and then we are again in the Maya.
Because you are slave of BME. Because you are letting the senses of the body, the thoughts of the mind, and the supremacy of the ego, you are letting yourself become, you're telling your Ruth Anu. But in your friends, you are still telling I'm Tanu Chopra. You go tell your friends I'm Ruth Anu. Then your life will change.
Yes, Guruji.
Remember this, if you all call yourself a name in this call, and that's all, then it will not work. If your name is only on this call and that's all, then that's all. Then you will not, only in this, exactly what happens. In this call, you are Ruth Anu. And you go outside, you become Chopra. Hello, Mrs. Chopra. How are you, Mrs. Chopra? Will you eat puri bhaji, Mrs. Chopra? And then you become Chopra. Thank you. This is Tush Atma. Is Tush Atma? Are you Tushar who has become Tushatma?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
Okay. So we have one more. We have one more new name, Tushatma. I like it. I like it when I love it when we have new people who are on the spiritual journey with spiritual names. So I'm moving from Ruth Anu to Tushatma. Yes, Tushatma. What is the question?
Sir, I have a question that if at the time of death, the person is not in the samadhi or consciousness, he will not get liberated, sir.
Who told you this?
Sir,
Who told you?
because suppose at the time of death, the family members, he stuck in the family members.
Let me tell you. Wait. Let's be clear. We need enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is realization. What is realization? I am not the body, mind, ego. I am the divine soul. Are we clear about this, Tushatma?
Yes, sir.
The moment, I'm not talking about knowledge. I'm talking about realization. We need enlightenment. Now, will the enlightened person keep on sitting in samadhi under the tree like Buddha for the rest of his life?
No, sir.
So what will the enlightened person do? You tell me.
He will be in the consciousness. Try to be in the consciousness.
How will he be in consciousness?
By remembering that he is not the body, mind.
How? No, you don't have to remember. Who will tell me the answer? Who will give Tushatma the answer? How will?
Can I?
Yes.
Sir, doing yoga, sir.
Very good. Pavan, for the first time you are giving the best answer. Keep it up. So Pavan gave the good answer by being in yoga. Thank you, Pavan. Tushatma, unless you are in yoga, you will not be liberated. How must you be in yoga, Pavan? Tushatma, you can be in yoga either through dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, and the easiest, prema yoga. Prema yoga means, you know something, in Hindi there was a song recently. Somebody was playing that song and I wrote a bhajan, but I didn't listen to that song. But in Hindi movies they sing this song. You know the song? तुझ में रब दिखता है यारा मैं क्या करूं तुझ में रब दिखता है. But this is not prema yoga. This is some Bollywood masti. There's no real seeing, there's no real seeing God. But the word is beautiful. If you really think about it, if you see, tujh mein rab dikhta hai, you know what it means? It's being in yoga. The song itself means being in yoga. But sometimes there are many songs, but you don't understand. So you got the answer, Tushatma. I hope you got the answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You have to remain in yoga. As long as you are a yogi, you are liberated. Don't become a bhogi, which does not mean that you can't eat one samosa. If somebody says, sir, I am a yogi, can I eat one samosa? Of course, you can eat 2 samosas. Don't eat only 1 samosa, eat 2 or 3 samosas, no problem. But don't get up in the morning and before brushing the teeth, don't say samosa. And when you are doing bhajanam, Don't say samosa. And then when the pujari is doing arti, don't tell the pujari, hamare ko prasad mein samosa. And before you sleep in the night, when you are just going to do your prayers, don't say, oh Lord, can you please give me samosa? Then you will become a samosa. Then there is no yoga. Then there is samosa yoga. Then you are, then what you are not in? You are not in karma yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, prema yoga. What yoga you are in? You are in samosa yoga. Then Tushatma, if you become samosa yoga, then can you be liberated?
No, sir.
Sometimes I explain in a funny manner for you to remember. Huh? Sometimes Ru
Yes.
Mataji, she is in Jalebi yoga. So I tell, don't I tell Ru Mataji, Jalebi ko chodo. Ru Mataji brings hot puri and jalebi and very good food she makes. But of course, that's out of love. But the point is, my dear friends, let us conclude today. Point one.
Ravi, my sister Pushpa wants to ask you a question.
Yes, please, Dasi. We'll take your question and then conclude. What is the question?
Please.
Yeah, I'm trying to do meditation, but still my mind, it doesn't, it's wander a lot. What should I do,
Because you must understand, but you must understand why this is happening. Because the mind is the enemy of meditation. The mind does not want you to meditate. The moment you meditate, you will catch the mind and make it from a monkey to a monk. So the mind will jump. So Pushpa, what must you do? You must not flow with the thoughts of the mind. When the mind is jumping somewhere, you watch it. Suppose your mind is jumping to, what is Dasi getting me from Dubai? Bring back your mind. Okay. Next question is, where are we going to go for lunch today? You watch the thoughts. You watch the thoughts. As you keep, don't go with the thought. Let me explain the difference to you, Pushpa. Suppose the mind is saying, I am going to go for lunch to Nariman Point. Then the next thought will come, okay, so should I have dosa, or should I have chole bhature, or should I have pav bhaji? Next thought will come, in the pav bhaji, which they should not put too much, they must put nice butter, because without butter. So see what happens, how the mind goes. The mind goes from one thought to second thought to third thought, and then you don't meditate. Your meditation is gone for a toss. You agree with me or you don't agree with me?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
So
I do.
what you must do, when the mind is going away, just be still. Please think that you are a Gurkha, security guard, who is just looking at the gate and watching the gate. Who's coming, who's going, who's coming, who's going. You become a thought Gurkha. Try to become a watchman of the thought. Just watch your thoughts. If you watch your thoughts for 5 minutes, your mind will become still. And that is meditation. Meditation, a lot of people, Pushpa, they say, I want to do meditation, or I want to sit in meditation. You can't do meditation. Meditation is not something you can do. You become meditative. You get into the state of meditation. You become meditative when you become still.
Okay, thank you, Ravi.
Cool. But what do
Thank
you have
you.
to say when you meditate? Do you have to say some mantra, or what do you have to say? Do you say
Nothing.
something?
Nothing.
When you, hello?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Do nothing. Just watch the mind. You see how you improve in your state of meditation. Just be quiet and watch the mind. Just watch the mind. Just watch the mind. You see how it happens. You see the peace you will get.
Okay.
Please try. So thank you, Dasi. So my friends, I know that I am getting a ring bell saying the time is over. But to conclude today quickly in 30 seconds, the soul doesn't need liberation. We need liberation. There are many barriers of liberation, and tomorrow maybe we'll touch this. Tomorrow we will take the same question. What are the barriers of liberation? So get ready for tomorrow's session. I hope I'm in Helsinki airport, and I hope I have connection, because I'm still not flying out to India till late tomorrow. So tomorrow we will ask the question. I'm giving it to you now. What are the barriers of liberation? Not the soul. What are the barriers of all of us? For all of us, what are the barriers of liberation? With that note, I bow down to you. Thank you.